Hey guys. All right. So today we're going to be hitting on a subject that used to be incredibly embarrassing for me. It still makes me pretty uncomfortable. So this may be a little bit awkward for me, but that's okay. We're going to get through. And that is talking about myself. So, uh, basically, when I was a kid, I was really intelligent. I am still very smart. I pick things up pretty quick, but when I was little, they use those words like child prodigy, phenom, and the reason it really weirds me out is because I never want another person to feel like they are less than. I never want you guys to feel like your opinion is not valid, or that I know something you don't know, because basically, there's a lot of things I don't know. I am trying to learn more things every day. I do pick things up pretty quick, but it, please, I hope that by the end of this, I don't just sound like a total arrogant jerk. But I really feel that this is relevant to today's climate and what's happening in our nation and in our world. So, as embarrassing as it is, or as uncomfortable as it makes me, I'm going to share it anyway and just hope that you guys see where I'm coming from. So, when I was 2 years old, I memorized the preamble to the Constitution. Yeah. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do establish and ordain this Constitution of the United States of America. Picture a 2-year-old walking around saying that. The adults love it, the kids hate it, and that's basically what all of this boils down to. So, so when I was 3 years old, I taught myself how to read. My parents actually didn't get a college education until I was older, so they just thought that I was. My parents are very smart. They're both very intelligent. It's just that they didn't have the accolades to go along with it. So they actually at first thought that I was just mimicking things, but then I would read and understand things that I had never seen before. So they started to see that I was really reading everything I could get my hands on. I have read things about every subject you can imagine. So, government, psychology, sociology, mathematics, science, biology, anatomy, just politics, government. I love to read. I love history. I do read for recreation as well. So there's a lot of, pop culture things that I will pick up on and remember. So we got to my kindergarten screening, and I was 4.5 because I wouldn't turn 5 for like 5 months after this screening. And they do the screening to kind of see what group you're going to fit into for different academics. So when they did the test for me, I was at a 4th grade level for science. I was at a 6th grade level for math. I was doing long division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. And for reading, I was at a 12th grade plus comprehension level. So the people running the test got like the principal and another person and had a meeting with my parents, and I was there. I remember it. They basically said, we can't send this girl to kindergarten because she's going to be bored out of her mind. So I skipped kindergarten. I went right into 1st grade. It was in a private school, so they were teaching things that in the public setting would have been a 3rd or 4th grade level. And I was a little bit socially behind, but it didn't really affect me until later. When my family moved, we moved out of state, and I went into the public school system. That was in 3rd grade. So the very first day of 3rd grade, I was a little bit emotionally behind, and another kid took my pencil, said it was theirs, and I literally bawled, like inconsolable, hiccup sobbing, ugly cry. I was ugly crying. And basically from that point on, the kids in my school labeled me a crybaby, and I became very socially excluded. I had two friends in elementary school that really got me through. But on days that they were absent from school, I would stay in for recess instead of going outside because I would rather sit in a corner and read a book than subject myself to the mocking and the teasing that took place from every single one of my peers. So, when I got to middle school, these two friends of mine that I had had in elementary school pulled me aside on the first day. And they said, you know what? We can't be friends with you anymore. You're really pulling down our social status. As a matter of fact, we don't even want you to say hi to us in the halls because if somebody else knows that we know you, it's really not going to be good for us. So that's how that went. I even it's awful. I could cry, but I won't. I have shed many tears over the years, and today is not the day that I'm going to shed more. And if I start laughing about something, it's only because if I didn't laugh, I would cry. So let's just be clear. There was some emotional scarring taking place, but thank God he has redeemed me. So when I went into the cafeteria on day one of middle school, literally nobody would let me sit at their table. Like, I went to each of the tables and people would move their bag or move their seat so that I couldn't sit down. And that includes like the band geeks and the chess club and the Dungeons and Dragons crew. And like, it didn't matter. Nobody wanted me to sit with them. So for the first 6 weeks of middle school, I sat by myself in the cafeteria. I would bring a book to school just so that I had something to take my mind off of the massive embarrassment of having to be by myself all the time. There were times that I was pulled, my hair was pulled, or I was pushed. Okay, so my camera glitched, but we're back. Okay, so I basically just had a really terrible experience. And I was teased for everything that you can imagine. I was kicked and hit. I had my hair pulled. I was pushed downstairs. I was punched in the face. But those are usually not the worst things. The worst things are usually the words. People were incredibly cruel. I would get made fun of for my hair, for my clothes, for the way that I wrote something down. If I got an answer right and raised my hand in class, then I was pompous and arrogant and they would all roll their eyes. And if I got it wrong, I would never live it down. They would bring it up for weeks afterward. Under their breath, you'd hear somebody, say, oh, 2 plus 2 is 5, It was just, they were really, really mean. So I don't recommend it. I don't recommend living that way. When I got into high school, it was kind of more the same. So right around 8th, 9th grade, I kind of decided that people were being so mean, I was just going to harden my heart and either be mean back or not let their words touch me. And that didn't really work out so well for me. So it made me miserable on the inside, and they were still saying the same things. It never changed anybody else. So within the year, I really decided that was not the way that I should do things, and I prayed about it for a long time, and I felt like God really let me soften my heart and pray for the people that were teasing me, and pray for my teachers who were also teasing me. It was really bad, guys. Like, I had a teacher, I had a spelling test, and a teacher accused me of cheating on it in front of the entire class because I was spelling words that they didn't think I should have been able to spell without cheating. It was awful. The teachers were just as bad as the kids. I did say this to my parents to some level, but really they couldn't do anything about it. And I think I kind of had to emotionally disassociate myself. When I got home, I couldn't really process what was happening because then I would have to relive it. So my parents would say, "How was your day?" And I would be like, "Oh, it was awful." And they'd say, "Oh, what made it so awful?" And I'd say, "Well, everybody made fun of me." And they'd say, "Citizen, it could not be everybody." And I'd say, "Well, it was." And we'd leave it at that and move on. So What does this have to do with anything? If there's anything in my life that I know, it is that I am intelligent, I am smart, and that I can recognize a bully. Today's political climate is brutal. On both sides. Both sides. I am watching this ridiculous video throwback with Marjorie Green and the person across the hall from her, and I'm going to put a flag up, and I'm going to put a sign up, and bye. Yeah, oh my God, she can see it every day. Like, yeah, that's exactly what I lived. That's exactly what I lived in middle school. It's horrendous. Adults are treating one another like children, and I hate it. So I'm going to say something about it. And the other side of this is that in the political realm, people are mocked, and we are trying to make folks that have a different opinion from us feel like they're stupid. And they're not stupid, okay? This is literally, like I said, this is the middle school mockery that I experienced for way too long. And when I came through the other side of that, it wasn't until about 3/4 of the way through 10th grade that finally one of the popular kids, said to the others that I was all right because I helped them with a homework assignment that was really hard for them, and just tried to kill everybody with kindness. And I know what it's like to be mocked. And from that time on, I have decided that I will never stand for mockery, for people just teasing somebody for the sake of teasing them. And whether you are a Democrat or a Republican, if you are a Democrat and you are calling conservatives stupid, you're wrong. I happen to be a conservative generally, just because of my Christian faith, but I am also intelligent. I can weigh out pros and cons. I can have opinions that are different from other people around me. And if you're a Republican and you're saying all Democrats are so stupid, or people on the left, look at how unintelligent they are to think that, fill in the blank. I'm hearing it on both sides. It's horrible. I don't like it. And we all really need to stand up as citizens of this country to make a stand and accept one another. Accepting another person doesn't mean that you have to agree with them. And disagreeing with somebody doesn't mean that you don't like them. So that's part of the reason that I've set things up here the way that I have, because I want to have these discussions, and I truly mean that. And I also am going to call out the BS that I see. If there is something going on that shouldn't be, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, I'm going to say something. And if I see something positive, you better believe that I'm going to call it out on both sides of the aisle. So please join me, talk about this stuff. Don't make kids feel, and I say kids because we're all kids internally, don't make another person feel less than. Don't make them feel marginalized. If we marginalize somebody, that means that we make it smaller, make the issue smaller, or make them feel irrelevant. That is unnecessary. We are all citizens of the United States of America, and that is truly a powerful position for all of us to hold. We all have power and sovereignty, and that's actually what I'll be getting into in the next video.